Good morning. I hope you all had a wonderful and blessed Christmas. I did. I got to fly down to Florida to visit with family for a little while, and so, I can't complain. So, anyway, the topic I wanted to cover today, is sort of a mix. I listened to a sermon the other day about the family and the roles and duties each family has. And so, that was really, really good and inspiring. But however, it's under heavy attack these days and seems to be a top and particular target for the devil and his henchmen. The other thing that I want to talk about is the absolute cancer known as feminism. It's just truly one of the worst monstrosities ever invented by man, in my opinion. So it's, it's not really two different topics that I'm going to be talking about. It's because both are so closely intertwined. Feminism is being used as a main weapon against the beauty of traditional marriage and family roles. And it's not just the left that has embraced it either. The conservative side has as well. And some without even realizing it. So, the family. It has been well known and established for millennia, and Jesus raised it to a sacrament that marriage is between a man and a woman. They form this union in the church. The husband is the head of the family and the provider. The wife is the heart of the family and the homemaker. Children coming from this union are a great blessing, and their procreation is actually the first end of marriage as God created it. So it's actually a duty to try to have children in marriage. It's a duty that will bring so many blessings from God and a deep fulfillment for the husband and wife. In marriage, the husband and wife become one, not some like business world agreement where they're partners and everything is 50-50. But it's a loving relationship where each one sacrifices themselves for the other and doesn't count the cost. The devil likes disorderliness, anarchy, and just anything that is against structure and authority. So here's a question. What's the best way to undermine a government and assure that it becomes corrupt and remains corrupt? By making sure that the population is degenerate, not only so that these people are taking positions in government, but so that the people in government can rely on the populace to give them power and status. This involves supporting them, voting for them, giving them money, and so on. So, what is the greatest threat to this corrupt system that these godless elites have in place? It's the family. Family that is properly ordered, where the husband and wife are happily married, the children, are raised virtuously and with balance, and there is a familial bond, not only between the parents and children, but with extended family as well. If the culture and government were really after creating and maintaining families like this would create a populace where we wouldn't have 69% of American men and 40% of women watch pornography. We wouldn't have 85% of Americans believe abortion should be legal in at least some circumstances. We wouldn't have 71% of Americans believe that gay marriage is a real thing and should have the same rights as marriage. And we wouldn't have 69% of Americans that believe sex outside of marriage is morally acceptable. These numbers would be astronomically lower in a traditional society that incentivizes having a family and looking to God and the church as its guide. According to Statista, 40% of children in the US are born out of wedlock. There is, of course, a direct historical correlation between the growing percentage of this thing happening with the growing belief that premarital sex is morally fine. We don't have to speculate what the world uh, would would look like if the traditional family unit was the focal point of society. This was the case throughout most of history, as was the near non-existence of abortion, elemental P rights, children out of wedlock, etc. So, why is this happening? Well, any theory really can be up for debate. In my personal opinion, I believe the rise of feminism is the main culprit here. I'm talking about all feminism, not, oh, the first one or two ways of feminism were good and solved some issues. It's only after that that things started going wrong. No. At the root of it, it was meant to get wives and mothers out of the home, away from their traditional role and the role God created them for, which is to take care of the home and nurture the children. I really hate this narrative, which seemingly almost everyone has bought into, that there is a need for a career, that a career is a vocation in life, that it's on par with or even above the actual vocations of life, like the religious life, marriage, etc. This attitude that it's so important and is what defines us for who we are, and that it's an ultimate goal that would make us happy. No, a career is just a tool to help us to do a good job with our vocation. A married man, for example, would like to make money so that he could provide for his family and give them security and not worry that they'll starve or freeze to death. I mean, that's why he has to put a lot of work into it. Not because the career itself is what makes him happy. I mean, it could help, but it's not what makes him happy. It's because it helps him succeed in one of his most important jobs in life, to provide for his family. And ultimately, our goal should be aimed toward what God wants us to do. Becoming a priest to save souls, entering the monastic life to lead a virtuous life and pray for others, getting married with the husband and wife, helping each other get to heaven and raising children in the way that best helps them go along that same path. These are all real missions in life with purpose. Not building a business and making money if it's purely for that sake. So when I hear feminists from both, the left and the right, talk about how much they've accomplished with their careers at the price of either not having a family or not being around their husband and children a lot of the time if they do have one. I don't care about your stupid career. If that's what you define yourself as, I feel sorry for you. Stop using it as some equal replacement for religious or married life, or a single life, in some circumstances, where it involves helping the church and charity, for example. There's a lot of merit in that life as well. So, this is plaguing women from all sides. The mask is slipping off with many conservative women in media and politics, bragging about the money and fame they've gotten over the years. Again, who cares? If that's all you've got to show in your life, you've really accomplished nothing meaningful that will bring lasting fulfillment. So, does this sound harsh? Maybe, but it needs to be said. We need to reverse this trend that has turned a career into a vocation. Of course, this can apply to men too, if it becomes an addiction and a replacement for his family. The difference here is that it is a man's nature to work hard at a job and bring home the bacon. It's his role as provider for the family. He can afford to obsess a little over his work as long as it doesn't interfere with his familial duties towards his wife and kids. The, the wife shouldn't have to work, especially a full time job, unless there are extreme circumstances, of course. If she took on a job at the expense of her family merely for the sake of a career, she's undermining the husband's role as provider, and she's also neglecting the duty she has towards him and any children to be the homemaker. So there is still a lot more to it than what I just talked about, of course, but that could be a discussion for another day. For now, that's all I've got for you today. So I just wanted to take this moment to thank you all who have been listening and subscribing. It's really a humbling feeling to know that people are uh, taking even just a few minutes of their days to listen to what I'm saying. So I appreciate it. So now, have a great rest of your day and God bless.